Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Breakfast with Disaster. Today, we're actually coming to you live from the Wolf Agency in Orchard Park, and we have a very special guest with us today. Amy Nowak is joining us. Amy, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great.
Good. I wanted to thank you for joining us on the show today. We appreciate you taking the time to be here. So Amy has been in the insurance industry for 15 years, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you got your start in, was it Myrtle Beach, right?
It was Myrtle Beach, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Want to tell us maybe a little bit about that? Did you enjoy the difference between working down there or up here? Or?
Yeah, it's quite a difference with the insurance industry. I worked along the coast, and you have to deal with a lot of catastrophic issues and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot different than it is up here in Buffalo.
Sure.
So you don't have a lot of the same elements to deal with.
Sure.
So
makes sense, yeah. And how long have you worked at this actual agency for, at the Wolf Agency?
This agency, it was actually 5 years on Sunday was my anniversary.
Well, congrats to 5 years. That's great.
Yeah. I've been back in Buffalo 5 years.
Yeah. What do you think of the weather? Do you miss the weather probably a little bit?
Yes,
yeah,
100%.
So.
I'm a beach bum, so I do miss that a little bit.
But, over like 7 feet of snow, it's probably a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, cool. Well, thanks again for joining us, guys. So just a few questions for you, just kind of. So today's episode, I kind of want to focus on some questions that maybe are lingering in your guys' head that you might have if you're starting off in the insurance agency, or something that's just something that you've been waiting to have answered. So hopefully we can answer some of those questions for you today. So what are some of the most rewarding parts of the job, would you feel like, being an insurance rep here?
One of the greatest rewarding parts of being an insurance rep is just educating clients. Mm-hmm. The more you know, the more you can help a client. And, an insurance policy is a legal binding contract, mm-hmm. and it's written up by lawyers.
Sure.
So, if you just have someone who's not familiar with insurance, mm-hmm. and they go to look at their policy, it could
be like Korean or something.
Right, like you're going in circles. So, and that's what we do. We deal with policies every day, and each company is different, mm-hmm. so they might use different forms. So it's good to educate the clients and help them navigate in and understand the insurance policy.
Gives them more of a sense of control over what's happening. So
yes.
That's always good. Great. No, that's awesome. And what message or advice per se would you have for an insurance agent that might be just starting off in the business? If they, let's just say, just got into it, maybe not even a few months ago.
It could be very overwhelming. There's a lot to know in this industry, mm-hmm. and you're always learning. So even if you do get your license and you can get designations, you're always learning. There's always more to learn. Insurance is constantly changing. Mm-hmm. The economy's changing, people are changing,
Absolutely.
Life changing. So insurance has to change with that. Mm-hmm. So it's always changing. And anybody new to the business, I would just say get connected. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of groups out there for young agents. They have mm-hmm. a conference. They have a next gen group.
Yeah.
You can build relationships. You can meet with other agents and brokers and kind of get their story and their feel. Mm-hmm. Be patient. It's going to take time to build these relationships.
Absolutely.
And when to educate yourself, and the more you educate, the more you can help your clients.
Yeah. So. And I like how you mentioned Next Gen, because I actually joined the Next Gen group for the Buffalo area, and
nice.
It's just a great way to network with other insurance reps and just kind of get your name out there. And I just think it's a great thing. I think they do it every quarterly. They have a meeting. So mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Could you tell us a story per se about a customer that maybe had a fire or flood in their home, and maybe they called you and they were super upset, where you had to actually calm them down, and I guess what was the end result for that? Which is probably rewarding, I would think, to maybe help someone feel better for that.
It's nice to see the full circle. Mm-hmm. It's not, talking about claims, it's always the bad. You never mm-hmm. want to get a call for a claim,
no.
But it's inevitable, and it's going to happen because that's just the business. There are, gosh, there's a lot of stories I could tell you about with fire claims of people, accidentally leaving a charcoal grill in the garage or things like that. But just recently, I think it was last year, we had flash flooding. And so even if you don't live around a lake or a stream, you can still have flooding. And a lot of people don't realize that. Flood happens, people who have a flood happens in 25% in the areas where you're not in a high-risk area. Everybody's in a flood zone. Yeah. It's either you're in a high risk or a low risk.
Interesting. I did not know that.
So, yeah. And a lot of the claims can happen in a low-risk area. And for example, like I believe it was last year, where we had a ton of rain in just a short amount of time.
I remember that. It was like crazy, like within like over not even like 4-hour period.
Yeah. And I've had friends that were just videotaping, like, look at my street, and you can just see the water gushing down the side street. So that water's got to go somewhere, and a lot of houses got flooded. But I think by the time whether it's a flood claim or a fire claim or we've had, I think by the time that they call us, I think the initial shock is kind of gone. So but it is still devastating, and you're still kind of like
shooken up by it,
I don't know what to do.
Absolutely. Makes total sense.
We do walk them through the steps to take. We do try to calm them down. First thing and foremost is everybody okay? No matter, the claim is you just want to make sure that everyone's safe and okay. And then you just kind of put yourself with the client. You put them right next to the client, and we walk them through every step of the way. Good. We just go through and we help file claims. We help, if they have questions, when a claim adjuster will come out and talk to them. So we do help them with every step of the way. Okay. And, in your insurance policy, it does say, you have to take pride of home ownership. So, you have to make appropriate steps or reasonable steps to prevent further damage. Sure. So if, you had a tree or something fall on your roof, you got to try to board it up or tarp it up, to prevent further damage.
Absolutely. So, another thing I want to kind of cover too is organization. I know everyone can always admit that you could always be a little bit more organized. So I was going to ask her, is there some things that you kind of do to maybe, when I mean by organized, like keep track of all of your clients? Do you have like a way of like checking in with them? Do you send them, gift basket or happy birthday card or just like some, because those do go a long way. I think, and the personalization of it also really helps.
Yes. So we do, we have a great database system that we use, and we document every phone call, everything in our system, and we put follow-ups for everything. So our system will tell us when to follow up, or
that's great.
And we also do like if someone refers business to our agency, we think that's the greatest compliment that we can get. Someone's gonna trust us enough that they'll refer us out, and we do we send out like a little scratch off ticket, saying hey,
nice.
Here's a little token of saying thank you, because it's
that's always a nice thing. We do those too at the golf tournament. So like we have like a little game set up that we do where we do like the lottery tickets or whatever. So, but cool. I was just curious because I know we've had some previous episodes where we talked about mold. How often do you actually get a call about mold?
The M word.
The M word?
No.
Do you get it? Do you see a lot of mold claims, or do you?
In this area, I have to say that I've only gotten one phone call asking about mold, and it was someone who had a renter's policy.
I see.
So with a renter's policy, there's very limited coverage for just limited coverage on that. It's so mold is not covered.
Oh, yeah, I
under that. So, but if someone did call in, if they had concerns, mold just doesn't appear out of anywhere.
No, it's got to be something that's been sitting there for a while.
Yeah. So, one of the questions I would ask is, where's the source? What's the cause of loss? Because it might be a water loss that's going to be a mold. So you might not file a claim for mold, but you're going to file a claim for a water loss.
Absolutely.
So
cool.
yeah.
And I know this has been open for 94 years, is it correctly? Wolf Agency has been open for 94?
It's about 97, a little over 97 years.
Now,
yeah.
have you worked here that entire 94 years? Or?
Yeah. Don't I look good?
Yeah, you look
yeah.
great. You look great.
I have the secret for youth.
And just to kind of get an idea, that's funny. How many people work in the office? I know I saw quite a few when I came in. I think, was there like 4 or 5 total?
Total, there's 7 in the office.
Right.
7 of us that work in the office. Okay. There's 2 that still work from home.
Okay.
So, we have a little bit of each.
Nice. Yeah. Which is good too, because I think when you work from home, like you're able to hit certain, like you can more flexible hours. Is that more? Or?
You can.
You can.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's but yeah, we because for COVID too, like I worked from home for a whole year from COVID, and it was nice because we had like the whole setup. Mm-hmm. Like it was just taking my desk here and moving it at home. Like I had both monitors, my phone, like everything. Sure. So it was just kind of
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to set, or it's perfect to work it out like that.
Yeah. Nice.
And also too, what I like is like some agencies have a lot of different insurance providers that they're like able to work with, which is always really a huge one up. To be able to have that opportunity. So I'm just kind of curious, how many different like insurance providers do you guys work with? I guess like big name insurance providers that most people would recognize.
Well, we have about, for like homeowners carriers, we have about 15 carriers. I would say maybe a handful of that are like the bigger names that people know, like you have your Travelers and your Met, which is now Farmers.
Sure.
You have your Safecos, your New York Centrals, Merchants.
Cool.
So we do, and that's one thing that's nice being an independent agency. Mm-hmm. We do have quite a few partners that we can, look at to get the best price and the best coverage for a client.
Interesting. Yeah. And I always wondered, just from, because I'm not in the insurance field, but I always just wondered from the outside perspective, is it a pretty like mainstream system that you have with all of these providers, or is like the approach to contacting them like completely different? I'm assuming willing to say it's completely different.
Yes.
It's not like, I'm assuming it can't be like streamlined. I understand because there's so many different providers, but
there is. And each company has their own system for quoting and their own, so even just the point of contact can be different. Some people or some companies we call, some companies we email. So it's
interesting.
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
For each company.
Sure. Cool. Well, I just wanted to thank everybody for being on the show today. If anybody had any other questions that are lingering, feel free to leave us something in the Q&A here. I have Dan looking over that. So today, we're going to go ahead and just jump right into the wheel spin, and we're going to find out who our lucky winner is today. Let me go ahead and pull that up for us.
Got it for you.
You got it? All right.
It's spinning right now, in fact. Should I signal the number to you?
Sure.
118.
118 is our lucky winner today.
Believe it or not.
We were just there the other week.
It's Joey.
Joey Terranova. Congratulations.
Hey, congratulations.
I will be in contact with you. I'll reach out this week and we'll stop by and talk to you. So thanks again, guys, everybody. And Amy, thank you so much for being on here today.
It was great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys, and have a good day, okay?